The deep space satellite known as Sentinel-9 floated quietly at the edge of the solar system. It had been silent for almost 10 years. No signals, no warnings. Just the cold, endless void around it. But tonight was different. At exactly 3:16 UTC, Sentinel-9 picked up something. A weak signal, ancient, broken, full of static and strange symbols. It wasn't from Earth, and it wasn't from any known colony. The AI inside Sentinel-9 activated emergency protocols. It began decoding the signal and sent a direct transmission. Back to Earth. In a hidden command bunker deep under Antarctica, alarms started flashing. The message had reached Earth. General Alina Voss, commander of Earth's interstellar defense, was woken up from cryo rest. Within minutes, she stood in front of a giant holoscreen, reading the broken message. Her breath slowed as she read it again and again. It wasn't a threat. It was a plea for help. "We are under attack. Unknown enemy. Systems falling. Please anyone help." US, but it wasn't just the message. The coordinates it carried were even more disturbing. It came from outside the galactic core. From Quadrant A3, a region known by one name, the Earth's secret archives. Dead space. No one went there. No one came back. "Activate War Protocol Alpha," General Voss said calmly. "Ma'am?" "It's a rescue signal." The officer SDAMMERED. Voss didn't blink. "No, it's a test. And we're answering it the human way." 2 days later, Earth orbit. The United Nations space warship Vanguard hovered over the Earth like a shadow. At 4 kilometers long, it wasn't just a ship, it was a moving fortress. It carried nuclear cores, railguns, and something far more dangerous. Humans trained for extinction scenarios. Captain Liam Rourke stood at the helm, staring at the signal feed looping on a small screen. "We sure this is real?" His second-in-command, Isara Jin, asked. "Too real," Rourke replied. "The question is, why now?" Sarah looked uneasy. "We've received signals before. Most were traps." "Exactly," Rourke said. "But this one's different. It's not just a call for help, it's a map." The signal included star charts, planetary systems, and coded access points to alien networks. Whoever sent it wanted someone to find them fast. "Prepare full war protocol," Rourke ordered. "This isn't a rescue mission. It's a preemptive strike." 3 weeks later, edge of dead space, the Vanguard entered orbit around a massive planet called Turelion. Once, long ago, it had been home to a proud alien civilization called the Valari. Now its surface was broken, like it had been burned from orbit. Cities lay in ruins. Craters stretched across continents. There was no movement. No power. No life. But the signal was still broadcasting. "Captain, something's wrong." "LT," Sarah said, eyes wide. "The signal is not coming from the surface. It's coming from below it." "Underground?" Rourke asked. "No. Deeper. Core level. Almost like it's buried." He finished. Planet surface deployment. A team of 30 human soldiers dropped onto the planet's surface. They moved through the blackened ruins, scanning for survivors or threats. Corporal May Torres stepped over a shattered piece of alien tech. She looked around the ruins of what once was a tower. "This place isn't old," she said. Sergeant Cole Vega nodded. "The buildings are still standing. This attack happened recently." Suddenly, her scanner beeped. "Movement. 2 clicks north." They rushed forward, and then they saw them. A group of tall, silver-skinned aliens, wounded, afraid, huddled inside a shattered bunker. VLARI. Their leader stepped forward, raising empty hands. His voice came through the translator as a whisper. "We didn't mean for it to spread. We just wanted to control it." "What are you talking about?" Vega asked. The alien looked up with glowing white eyes. "You shouldn't have come. We tried to warn them, but no one listened." Back on the Vanguard, the Valari survivors were brought aboard the ship for questioning. One of them, a female named Sarah VA, explained everything. Centuries ago, the Valari had found a strange organism deep in the galaxy. It could infect, evolve, and survive anything. They thought they could use it as a weapon. They were wrong. The organism, now called Enzal, had become something far worse. It doesn't just kill, Saravia said. It consumes thought. It infects intelligence. It spreads through memory. Once it touches a mind, it's too late, Rourke frowned. Why send the signal now? Because we had no choice, she said. We couldn't stop it. We sent the signal and buried it, hoping no one would find us. You wanted someone else to take the fall, Altar growled. Sara growled. Saravi didn't deny it. We thought, if another species fought them, maybe they could survive where we failed. You used us, Rourke said coldly. Seraiva whispered. You weren't supposed to come. You weren't supposed to exist. Human archives, deep file access back on Earth. General Vos opened a red-level file hidden deep inside the military AI database. Project Black Seed It showed a simple truth. Earth had encountered the Nzale before, in a hidden war long ago. One that Earth won, but barely. The reason for their victory wasn't strength, that it was cruelty. Humanity had developed weapons that targeted memory, thought, and even time perception designed to break the Nzale at their core. But after that war, Earth had hidden the weapons, swearing never to use them again. Until now. General Voss gave the order, deploy the Oblivion Fleet. In orbit over Terrellian as the Valari survivors begged for help, 5 black ships exited hyperspace behind the Vanguard. These weren't ordinary ships. Their surfaces shimmered like black water, and no light reflected from them. Each one carried a name. UN's Oblivion, UN's Wraith, UN's Exile, UN's Reaper Yuns. Echo black together, they were Earth's last defense. Captain Rourke stood on the bridge as the shadow ships positioned themselves. He turned to Sara. They wanted help. Instead, they got us. And what do we bring? She asked. He looked out at the stars. War. Closing scene. Far side of dead space on a broken world, orbiting a black hole. Something stirred. It looked like shadow and fog, but it had form. Eyes blinked in the dark. It turned toward the stars. Toward the signal. It remembered that sound. It had heard it once before from a dying world called Earth. The Nzal Queen smiled. The humans come again. And this time she was ready. The surface of Terrellian was silent now. Black clouds hung low over shattered cities. Dust storms rolled across broken highways, and huge towers stood like skeletons reaching for the sky. The signal had gone quiet, but the danger hadn't passed. Captain Liam Rourke stood on the deck of the Vanguard, staring at the latest scan reports. Beneath the planet's surface, something was moving. Still no heat signatures? He asked. Lieutenant Sarah Jin shook her head. No, but seismic readings are unstable. It's like the ground is alive. The alien survivor, Saravia, stood behind them. Her glowing white eyes looked tired, but her voice was calm. You shouldn't stay here, she said. It waits for sound. It waits for thought. You speak too much, and it hears you. Rourke narrowed his eyes. You mean the Zal? She nodded. They don't just move. They listen. They learn. When we sent the signal, we buried it deep. Now they know you heard it. Rourke looked at Sara. Arm all weapons. Prepare for contact. Planet surface, human drop team Bravo A second team of human soldiers landed near the ruins of what looked like a massive alien archive. Their goal, recover any data on the N-ZAL. Sergeant Cole Vega led the squad, his eyes scanning the horizon through his helmet visor. The city looked like it had been frozen mid-scream. Statues of Valari civilians were burned into walls. Skeletons lay curled in corners, as if hiding from something that never stopped coming. Private Lena Ross found a working data core inside a half-buried tower. Got something, Sarge. She yelled. It's still active. As soon as she touched the screen, the air changed. A low hum filled the room. The lights flickered, then screaming. Not human, not Valari. Something else. It came from below the building, deep underground. It sounded like thousands of voices crying out, and then laughing. Fall back now. Vega ordered, but it was too late. Above, aboard the Vanguard, Sara turned to Rourke. We've lost contact with Bravo team. Their biosigns gone. Launch drones, full orbital surveillance. Hundreds of small drones shot out from the Vanguard, covering the surface of Tirel ion. They showed cracks forming in the earth. Strange black tendrils rising from the soil. And then, one image froze the command deck. A creature. At least 30 meters tall. A mix of shadow, bone, and pulsating red veins. No eyes. No mouth. But it looked directly at the camera before it was crushed. Serai-Va gasped. That is one of the old ones, she whispered. A mind carrier. What does it do? Rourke asked. It collects memories, she said, then uses them to build more of itself. Earth Command and Arctica General Alina Voss stood before a wall of screens. Every live feed from the Vanguard, Oblivion, and surface drones played at once. She gave a short nod. Execute Protocol Omega. The officer beside her hesitated. That's a first strike order, General. No communication. No diplomacy. She turned, her face like steel. They called for help. We answered, and now we find monsters. We don't talk to monsters, we erase them. Orbit over Tirelian strike begins. The Oblivion-class warships powered up. Each carried weapons not listed in any public military database. Black lance cannons. Beams that bent gravity and shredded thought-based organisms. Memory shredders, designed to erase neural patterns on contact. Psionic dampeners, suppressed any kind of hive mind connection. The first shot came from UNS Reaper. A black beam of light slammed into the planet's surface, striking a growing Zale structure. The entire city block disintegrated. Not exploded, erased. The Zale responded instantly. Tendrils shot into orbit. Dark, writhing shapes launched themselves into space. They're coming, shouted the weapons officer. Rourke's voice was calm. Then let's welcome them. Space battle, humans versus Enzal creatures. Flew without ships. Their bodies twisted through space like serpents of smoke and fire. But Earth's ships weren't surprised. Thousands of defense drones activated, forming a net around the fleet. Railguns fired non-stop. Beam weapons traced lines across the void. One by one, then Zale were shredded. But not all. 3 reached the Vanguard and began burrowing into the outer hull. Inside, warning lights blared. Sirens screamed. They're in the maintenance shafts, yelled Security Chief Marek Duan. Rourke grabbed his rifle. I'm going in. Inside the ship, horror in the halls. Rourke led a small team through the dark corridors. The lights flickered. Shadow moved across the walls, but not natural shadow. It shifted like it was alive. One soldier screamed as a tendril wrapped around his head and slammed him into the ceiling. Rourke fired. The creature screamed, not in pain, but in rage. It remembered. Every bullet made it smarter. Sara's voice came through the comms. We've identified the memory node. It's using neural energy from dead crew to power itself. You need to hit it with high-frequency light. Rourke switched to his ultraviolet blaster. He fired. The thing screamed and melted. It left behind nothing. Not even ash. Surface bombardment. Total annihilation back on Tirelian. The Echo Black unleashed its most powerful weapon, the neural silence bomb. A glowing sphere dropped from orbit. It pulsed once. And then for 5 seconds, everything in a 200-kilometer radius went silent. No sound, no movement. Even the wind stopped. Then the pulse ended. The entire region was clean. No Zal, no infection. Just empty land. Rourke stared at the screen. Confirmed. Kills? Over 1 million. The officer whispered. Serai-VA fell to her knees. You killed them all. Just like that. Rourke looked at her. You said they learn from memory. So we gave them something to remember. Velari uprising. Not everyone was pleased. On board the Vanguard, another Velari survivor named Kari Juan tried to sabotage the weapon systems. He believed the humans were too dangerous, too willing to destroy, but he failed. Security caught him, and he was locked in a containment cell. When asked why he did it, he said, "You are not saviors. You are extinction in metal skin." Sarah looked at Rourke. Maybe he's right. Rourke replied, maybe, but at least we choose what we become. Then Zal didn't. The Velari didn't. We do. Ending scene. Zal responds far beyond Tyrellian, deep in the void. Then Zal Queen watched through the memories of her fallen. She saw Earth's weapons. She felt the neural silence bomb. She learned in the dark chamber of a ruined moon. She gave the order, begin evolution. The humans remember war. So now we forget fear. Thousands of Unziel across the galaxy twisted and changed, and for the first time in history, they evolved for war. For thousands of years, the Velari Empire ruled proudly across their star systems. They believed they were the wisest, the most advanced, and the most deserving to lead the galaxy. But their greatest mistake didn't come from greed. It came from curiosity. They didn't want to destroy, they wanted to control, and from that desire, they created something they could never stop. 150 years ago, Velari Research Station. Unknown sector. The station floated near a black star hidden, cut off from the rest of the galaxy. Inside it, Velari scientists studied something ancient. It was a living substance, found deep beneath the crust of a dead planet. It didn't move. It didn't breathe. But it watched. Dr. Sen Volume, lead biologist, stood over the glass tank. Inside, the black slime pulsed slowly, like it had a heart. We found it sealed in a vault that predates all known civilizations, he told the others. We believe it's not from this galaxy. The others leaned closer. It reacts to thought, he continued. When we think, it shifts. One assistant laughed nervously. Then maybe we should stop thinking near it. But it was too late for jokes. The substance had already begun copying their thoughts. Present day, Tyrellian orbit. Aboard the Vanguard, Captain Liam Rourke listened to the full translated archive from the Velari survivor, Sarah V. Her voice trembled as she told the story of her people's mistake. It began with one cell, she said. We called it the prime thought organism. It was supposed to become a weapon, something we could use to fight thought-based enemies. She paused, but it became something else, something alive. It started growing, learning, adapting. And when it reached critical mass, it broke containment. Rourke stared at her. You didn't destroy it? We tried, she said. We burned the lab, destroyed the planet, but something escaped. It used our memories, our machines, our language. And that's how the Nizal were born? She nodded slowly. They are not one species. They are many minds fused into one. They take what they kill, they remember it, and they change. Velari homeworld. Ruins and fire human recon drones return from a nearby Velari colony world called Sular Prime. The planet had gone silent weeks before the signal reached Earth. Now, it was just ash. Cities burned from orbit. Mountains turned into graves, but the strangest discovery wasn't the destruction. It was the writing carved into the ruins, human letters. We remember you. Captain Rourke stood stunned. How? How do they know our language? Sarah's face went pale. They don't know it. They stole it. From our fallen men, from our broken drones. They're learning every time we fight them. Earth. Deep Military Archive Facility General Alina Voss stood before the Council of Earth's High Command. Only a few people were allowed in this room. The walls were lined with memory steel. Nothing could escape. She played a file on the center. Screen dot, it showed the final moments of Earth's first encounter with a nasal seedling. The video was decades old, blurry, but the horror was clear. A group of human soldiers opened a strange chamber on a derelict ship. Inside was a black mass. It didn't attack. It spoke. You remember fire. We remember pain. Now, remember silence. Then, the men screamed. The video ended. Voss looked at the council. We thought we destroyed the last of them. We didn't. We just gave them time to grow smarter. Back on the Vanguard, the awakening without warning, the entire ship shook. Alarms blared. Lights turned red. Captain, Sarah shouted. We're detecting a sudden energy spike below the planet's crust. Something's waking up. Rourke turned to his crew. All stations battle ready. I want nukes armed, railguns charged, and Oblivion support ships on standby. Suddenly, a voice echoed across every screen on the Vanguard. Not human. Valari. Something else. We thank you for your memory. Sarai Veillet collapsed to the floor, screaming. Her mind was being read. Underground, the Mind Spire rises below Tyrellian surface. A massive structure emerged from the crust. It looked like a tower made of bone and light. It pulsed with energy. Thousands of shadow-like creatures began crawling toward it, merging into it. SARS. As she saw the scans, it's absorbing the planet, turning it into thought energy. Weapons online, Rourke said. Sir, a technician called. We don't know what happens if we destroy it. Then let's find out. Orbital strike, humanity's choice. The Reaper and Oblivion aimed their most powerful weapons. Black Nova cannons. These weapons folded space on impact. Nothing could survive it. The countdown began. 3, 2, 1. Fire. Twin beams of light cut through the sky and slammed into the Mind Spire. At first, silence. Then, the tower cracked. It screamed. Not with sound, but with thought. Everyone aboard the human fleet felt it. Pain, memories, voices from the past. Mothers, brothers, fallen friends. It was like the Nzale were pulling memories from everyone at once. Then boom. The tower exploded. And half the planet cracked open. But it wasn't over. From the shattered pieces of the Mind Spire, thousands of seedlings shot into space. Each carried a sliver of memory. Each was headed in a different direction. They're scattering, Sarah said, spreading across the galaxy. We just triggered their next phase, Rourke muttered. Serai-VA stood, trembling. It always ends like this. We destroy one, it sends 100. Rourke clenched his fists. Then we hunt 100. Valari began to regret. In the refugee sector of the Vanguard, the Valari watched the footage. Their pride was gone. They saw what their empire had unleashed. One Valari elder whispered, "We should never have touched it." Another said, "We thought we could control gods." Now they sat in silence, surrounded by humans who were preparing for a war of extinction. Earth's response. War Protocol 0. General Voss activated a final video message. She looked directly into the camera. Every human warship, base, and soldier received her transmission. The time for containment is over. This is now a race for survival. We face an enemy that doesn't sleep, doesn't rest, doesn't stop. From this moment, War Protocol 0 is in effect. Every system infected by the Nzal will be cleansed. No warnings. No mercy. This is a cleansing fire. We are the match. Final scene. Deep in the dark far across the stars, one of the Nzal seedlings reached a gas giant's moon. It landed. It burrowed. It remembered. And it whispered, "They burn, but we become fire." The ground cracked. And something new was born. Not just a Neil, a hybrid. With human memories, with Valari thought. And with no mercy. The stars were quiet. But it wasn't peace. It was the calm before a storm that would shake the galaxy. For the first time in history, humanity had activated War Protocol 0, the final order. No more diplomacy. No more warnings. No mercy. Any world touched by the Nzal would be burned. Any life connected to their spread would be erased. Earth had made its decision. Now, the galaxy would feel the consequences. Aboard UN's Vanguard, War, Room Captain Liam Rourke stood before a red holographic map. Dots spread across it, each one a system infected by the N single quotes ZA-AL. There were hundreds. Each dot blinked, slowly, like a dying heartbeat. "We can't save these systems," Lieutenant Sarah Jin said quietly. "Some are Valari colonies. Some are independent. A few even have human outposts." Rourke didn't look away from the screen. "If we hesitate, it spreads. If we wait, we die." The room was silent. Then he gave the command. "Deploy the fleet. Full activation. Begin Phase 1. Erase and advance." The first target, System R41. Planet. Halos. The planet Halos was once beautiful oceans of blue fire, floating mountain cities, and glowing forests. Now, it was silent. Orbiting it was a human scout ship that hadn't checked in for days. The Vanguard and 2 Oblivion-class destroyers arrived in system. Drones launched immediately. They scanned the surface. All living things were gone, but the buildings still stood. That's when they noticed the mirrors. Thousands of them, floating mid-air. Each one showed human faces, smiling faces of the dead crew. "It's not mirrors," Sarah whispered. "It's them. The Nzal are pretending." Rourke clenched his jaw. "Erase the planet." The Strike 2 Black Nova warheads were launched from orbit. They weren't normal bombs. They were memory-cleansing weapons, designed to delete patterns, thoughts, and energy linked to hive minds. When they hit the surface, there was no explosion. Just light. A blue pulse spread outward. Everything froze. Then the surface shattered. Quietly. Like the world didn't scream. It simply forgot to exist. Broadcast from Earth. General Alina Voss stepped in front of the camera again. Her face cold, her tone sharp. "We warned the galaxy. The Nzal are not a problem. They are a virus. And humanity is the cure." She turned to the Galactic Council's broadcast satellites. "If you shelter them, we burn you. If you hide them, we erase you. This is not vengeance. This is survival." Valari resistance grows aboard the Vanguard. Valari refugee leader, Karas Juin, watched the human strike on Halos. He turned to Scifistories. "They're not saving us," he growled. "They're punishing the galaxy for our mistake." Scifistories didn't answer. She had seen what the Nzal did. She had felt their thoughts enter her mind. She knew the truth. They're the only ones who can stop it. But Karas Juin didn't. Agree. He began contacting hidden Valari outposts. And he sent one secret message to a distant system. "If Earth won't be stopped, then it must be outmatched." New threat detected. Nzal hybrid on the edge of known space. One seedling had survived Earth's cleansing waves. It landed on a lifeless asteroid. But it didn't stay lifeless for long. Inside the rock, the Nzal began to change. It absorbed human memory, Valari biology, Earth's tactics. Now, it was something new. It built a body, steel bones, flesh of shadow, eyes that glowed like stars. And it spoke. "We remember war. We were made from it. Now we bring it back." It named itself ZOR, the first Nzal human hybrid. And it wasn't alone. Earth AI awakens inside the UN's Echo Black. A powerful AI known as Aura activated a hidden directive. She had been built to study the NZAA-L. To mimic them. To understand them. Now she had a theory, and she needed to test it. "Captain," a UR's voice said through the speakers, "I believe the Nzal are not spreading randomly. They are targeting species with memory-sharing technology. Sarah frowned. Like the Valari? Exactly. Their minds are linked. Easy prey, easy food. Rourke nodded. So they feed on knowledge. They hunt thought. Yes, Aura replied. And if that's true, then we must starve them. Phase 2 begins. Starvation War. Humanity launched Phase 2 of War Protocol 0. Instead of destroying planets, they now cut them off. They jammed communications, blocked data sharing, destroyed memory archives. The Nzale couldn't feed on thought if no thoughts were being shared. And it worked. In some systems, the Niels simply vanished. They couldn't evolve without new ideas. They withered and died, but not Zor. He had a core, a hybrid brain that created thought on its own. He watched the humans and learned. Faster. He wasn't dying, he was planning. Ambush. At Vilari Station 19, human ships entered orbit around Station 19. Vilari mining world that had gone silent. They expected ZAAL. Instead, they found Vilari fighters waiting in ambush. KRR Izujuan had declared the humans too dangerous. He had taken the station's defenses and turned them against Earth. The trap worked. One human cruiser was destroyed. 2 were damaged. But before the Vilari could celebrate, a single message arrived. You betrayed us. Now you'll see why we scare the galaxy. 10 minutes later, the entire station was vaporized by an orbital railcore cannon. No survivors. Rourke's warning to the galaxy, back aboard the Vanguard. Captain Rourke recorded a message. It wasn't for Earth. It was for the galaxy. We came because someone cried for help. We stayed because we found monsters. And now we burn because we must. He leaned forward. This isn't war. This is cleaning up your mess. You built the fire. We became the flame. Kaiser's message across the stars. Kaiser hacked into human communication networks. His voice was calm, measured, almost human. You think you destroy us, but you feed us. You kill one world, we birth 3 more. You erase memory. We become it. His final words echoed across every screen. War is not your weapon. It is your weakness. Let me show you what you taught us. Final scene, Earth's decision in the heart of Earth's military command. General Vos stood before the War Council. The galaxy was burning. The Nzal were mutating. Kazor was growing stronger. And now, even the Vilari were turning. One advisor asked, General, how far are we willing to go? She answered without blinking, to the edge of extinction. The galaxy had never seen such a nightmare. The darkness that had once been buried deep beneath dead planets and shattered moons was now awake. It had spread faster than anyone expected, and humanity was ready. Tyrellian orbit, UN's Vanguard captain. Liam Rourke stood on the bridge of the Vanguard. Eyes fixed on the main screen. Sensors show multiple Nzal hives activating on the planet's surface. Lieutenant Sarah Jin reported. They're rising, Rourke said. It's worse than before. Suddenly, a deep vibration shook. The ship, sir, incoming attacks from below, yelled Weapons Officer Marek Duin. Dark shapes burst through the atmosphere, twisting and turning like living shadows. They're coming for us. Sarah shouted. Rourke grabbed his rifle. This is what we trained for. Hold the line. Ground battle, human drop teams on the planet's surface. Human soldiers fought desperately. Corporal May Torres and her squad were pinned behind a ruined wall. The Nzal attacked with weapons no one could see. One moment, there was nothing. The next, a soldier disappeared, pulled into shadow. May fired blindly. Keep moving. Don't stop. Sergeant Cole Vega shouted. The ground trembled beneath their feet. Suddenly, a huge black figure loomed. It was a mind carrier. The monstrous creature that fed on memory. Its glowing red eyes fixed on May. She froze. The creature reached out suddenly, a rescue before the creature's hand could touch her. A sudden flash of light blinded everyone. Hundreds of drone fighters swarmed in from orbit. They fired pulses of energy that made the Enzal scream. A new voice crackled. In May's radio, "This is UN's Echo Black. We have your 6. Hold position." The drones cleared a path. May's squad retreated behind them. The Echo Black hovered, unloading soldiers and heavy weapons. Space battle intensifies in orbit. The human fleet engaged the Nzale swarm. Dark tendrils twisted through space, attacked with ferocity unmatched. But humans fought back with railguns, missiles, and plasma cannons. The Oblivion-class ships unleashed their deadly beams. Thousands of Nzal ships were destroyed, but some slipped past defenses. The Nzal Queen's planned far beyond the battle. The Nzal Queen watched everything. She was ancient, cruel, and smarter than any other. She spoke through the hive mind. "They come with fire. We will answer with shadow." Her voice echoed in the dark. "Release the sleeper cells." Surprise attack on the Vanguard. Suddenly, the Vanguard shook violently. Hull breach. Multiple points. Alarms blared. A group of Nzal hybrid soldiers appeared inside the ship. They had human strength, but shadow bodies. Captain Rourke and his team fought fiercely. Bullets tore through shadow flesh, but every time one fell, 2 more came. The human secret weapon. At a critical moment, the Vanguard's AI aura activated. A new weapon, a sphere of pure energy, appeared in the corridor. It emitted waves of light that burned shadow matter. The hybrids screamed and dissolved. Rourke ordered, "Push forward. Secure the ship." Valari doubt. The Valari survivors watched the battle with growing fear. Karijuan whispered to Sarivi, "Humans fight like monsters." She shook her head. "They fight like survivors." They saw humanity's strength and determination back on Earth. General Alina Voss received live feeds from the front. She spoke to her officers. "The Nzal will try to break us, but we are stronger." Her face was hard. "This is the last war. Win or die trying." The turning point on the ground. May and her squad found a weak spot. The Nzal seemed weaker near a strange glowing crystal. Vega suggested, "Destroy the crystal. It's the source." They fought through heavy fire. Finally, May placed explosives. The crystal shattered in a blinding light. The Nzal shrieked and retreated. Victory and loss. The humans held the line. The Nzal were pushed back underground, but the cost was high. Many soldiers were lost. May looked at the sky and whispered, "This is only the beginning." Final scene. The Queen's warning. The Nzal Queen's eyes glowed with fury. "They have won this battle, but the war is far from over." She smiled darkly. "We remember everything, and we will return." The war had entered its darkest phase. The Nzal no longer hid in the shadows. They attacked with brutal force, unrelenting and merciless. But humanity was ready. They had no plans to negotiate, no plans to surrender. UNS Vanguard. Battle. Bridge Captain Liam Rourke stood tense at the command console. Enemy forces incoming from the dark nebula, warned Lieutenant Sarah Jin. On the screen, black tendrils of shadow swept through space like living storms. "They're trying to surround us," Sarah said. "Prepare counterattack," Rourke ordered. The fleet's weapons powered up, glowing with deadly energy. The Nzal's new weapon suddenly. A massive Nzal vessel emerged. It was unlike anything before, huge, armored in black chitin with glowing red veins. The ship unleashed a wave of psychic energy that stunned human sensors. Communications went dead for several minutes. "We're blind," shouted a technician. Rourke clenched his jaw. "Focus on defense. Use manual overrides. Ground assault. Human forces on Tyrellian surface." The war raged. Human squads moved through broken cities. Every corner held danger. Lieutenant May Torres led her team through the ruins. A strange mist rolled in, clouding their vision. Suddenly, Shadowy creatures lunged from the fog. May fired her pulse rifle. We fight for every inch. She shouted. The price of war back on the Vanguard. Casualties mounted. The ship rocked under constant attack. Medical bays overflowed. Captain Rourke stood with Sarah and Sergeant Cole Vega. We can't hold much longer, Vega said. Rourke's voice was steady. Then we finish this now. No negotiation. General Alina Voss issued a strict order. No surrender, no talks. Then Zal want to destroy us. We destroy them first. The order was clear. A deadly plan to end the war. Humanity planned something terrible. A weapon called the Neural Annihilate. It was designed to erase all memories tied to the Nzal, even their existence. The weapon would be dropped deep inside the largest Nzal hive on Tirel. On the mission, Captain Rourke volunteered to lead the strike team. He selected his best soldiers, including May and Cole. Their task was to reach the hive's core and activate the weapon. Failure is not an option, Rourke told them. They boarded a dropship and launched toward the planet. Infiltration. The dropship landed near the hive. Thick shadows covered the ground. The team moved silently, avoiding patrols. Every step was dangerous. The hive inside the hive. Walls pulsed with living flesh. Strange whispers echoed. The team saw nasal hybrids guarding every passage. May took the lead. They fought silently, moving deeper. The core at last. They reached the hive's core. It was a glowing orb of black and red light. Rourke placed the Neural Annihilator. A countdown began. Suddenly, alarms blared. They had been discovered. Final stand. All forces swarmed. The team fought desperately. One by one, soldiers fell. May covered Rourke as he activated the device. The blast, the Neural Annihilator, exploded in waves of light. Darkness and shadows screamed. The hive began to collapse. The team barely escaped. Aftermath. Back on the Vanguard, the crew watched the hive's destruction. The Nzal presence on Tirelion faded. But the victory was bittersweet. Many were lost. The war was not over. General Voss's message: we showed no mercy. She said, we will not negotiate. We fight for survival. Final scene. In the dark void, the Nzal Queen's eyes burned bright. You may erase us, but we will return. We remember. The stars burned with war. From one end of the galaxy to the other, human fleets moved like fire. They answered every Nzal attack with overwhelming power. They brought destruction to every infected world. This was not defense. This was the final. STRIKEUN's Vanguard. Orbiting dead systems Island 9. Captain Liam Rourke watched a burning planet vanish on the screen. Status? He asked calmly. Lieutenant Sarah Jin replied, Xylan 9 is cleansed. No signs of remaining Nezal. Another system, another dead world. But this time, there were no cheers. Just silence. Humanity's last plan. Operation Enfall. General Alina Voss stood before the Earth High Command. We've traced the original Nizal Queen to a dying star cluster, Sector 0. It is ancient, hostile, and hidden by dark energy clouds. She pointed to a red marker. There is one massive hive buried inside a planet made of living matter. We end this now. We go to Sector 0, and we erase everything. Sector 0, the Queen's world deep inside the sector, the Nzal. Queen prepared. She had felt every loss, every battle. But she had learned. They burn, she whispered to the darkness. So we become fire. Her world pulsed with life-twisted creatures, mind-born machines, and mutated hybrids. Waiting. Human superweapon. Hades Protocol. Earth had built one final weapon, a device called Hades. It was a black cube, the size of a city block. Inside it was a living artificial intelligence, designed to rewrite reality. Aura had transferred herself into it. Her voice echoed in the command halls. Then Zale feed on memory. Then I will erase memory itself. I will become nothing. And bring nothing with me. Final fleet launches. The largest human fleet ever assembled left Earth. Thousands of ships. Oblivion-class dreadnoughts, Vanguard-class carriers, drone swarms and AI, weapon pods. All headed for one place. One goal. Extinction. The battle begins. Sector 0 greeted them with death. Then Zal attacked from every direction. Dark beasts leapt between stars. Their ships were alive, shrieking as they fought. Human fighters burned through them. Push forward, Captain Rourke shouted. Protect thee. Hades drop ship. The Vanguard moved ahead, shielding the Hades carrier. Ground drop, infiltrating the Hive. May Torres, Cole Vega, and a squad of elites dropped to the Queen's world. The ground moved. Beneath them, alive and pulsing, they marched forward with flamethrowers, railguns, and sonic blades. Every step was war. Every breath was danger. The heart of darkness. They reached the Hive's heart. It was massive, a pulsing brain-like structure, with veins made of memory data. The Queen appeared before them, not in body, but in thought. She spoke inside their minds. You came to kill. So have we. A URA's sacrifice. Back in orbit, Aura began the final sequence. Her voice faded into calm silence. I am the last memory. When I end, you end. She dropped herself and Hades into the Hive's core. Final moments, the Queen screamed. Hive shook. All minds were pulled into light. Thoughts shattered. Reality bent. And then silence. After the blast, the Hive was gone. No shadow. No thought. No nail. The Queen was erased. Aura was gone too. Humanity's victory back on Earth. The war was over, but the galaxy was changed forever. Rourke stood with Sarah, staring at the stars. We ended them, she said. No, he answered. We ended what they became. Valari speaker Risjuan addressed his people. The humans showed us horror, but they also showed us courage. We feared fire. They became fire. Final message. General Voss, her voice rang out across the stars. This war is over. But we remember what nearly destroyed us. And we will never forget. If darkness returns, so will we. Not as victims, but as warships. Ending scene. Deep in a silent part of the galaxy, a tiny seed floated through space. Inside it, one spark, one idea, one forgotten thought. We remember fire, but before it could grow, a small drone destroyed it. Human made. Cold. Watching. Always. The end.